Hi, Kelly Morgan here for our weekly broadcast. And I'm CreativeLife.com, which is about cracking open your creativity, freeing your writing, and setting the world on fire with your stories. And I have with me today Deb Boulanger, who is definitely setting the world on fire with what she shared with others and her story. So, want to get into that today. And we titled today's talk about for writers and other creative people, well, really anyone, how do you, when you're an entrepreneur, get paid what you're worth? And one of the things I like the email that you sent out, Deb, because it said, geez, if you want to turn your passion into a business, if you're already following your passion, you're a writer, an artist, you are an entrepreneur. And how do we start treating our businesses like that? And I know you've helped me go online. You helped Deborah Epstein go online, who's a visual artist. And so I thought I really want to talk to Deb today.
Oh, thanks.
Hello.
Hello. And we've had a beautiful, loving collaboration over the years. And I so respect what you do with The Artist's Way and helping people get their stories out. And how do you make money doing what you love? Number one, money is kind of an inside job, right? So first we remove any blocks or resistance. Money is so critically tied to our self-esteem, our self-worth, how confident we feel about the quality of our work and the value that we deliver to our clients. So first of all, we start with, how are you valuing yourself? And the other thing to getting paid is consciously creating a money-making model from the start. So in order for you to get paid what you're worth, you have to have a business model, right? So you have to have a business model where you package and you price your service offerings or your art or your writings or the transformation that you deliver to your clients. And there's a value associated with that. And so we do a little bit of forensics up front in understanding what is the value of the transformation that you provide, and what is the value of that in your ideal client's eyes, and what are you enabling them to do that they've never been able to do before? What opportunity costs are you letting them recover? And so we spend a lot of time exploring the whole self-worth as well as what is your solution worth to the marketplace.
And I want to say, and I want to comment on that, but hello, Joan. I'm so glad you joined us. And if you have any comments for Deb or questions, please let's make this an interactive interaction. I like that. Okay, so one of the things that you're talking about, and I know this is very challenging for many artists and coaches, is to, you say charge what you're worth, but what is that really? We're used to charging sometimes on an hourly basis in life. We think in terms of time. Can you speak to that? Is there another way?
Sure. So what I hear from many, I specifically work with women entrepreneurs. So what I hear from many women entrepreneurs who have been at it for a few years is that there's a certain point in time where they start tapping out, where they're working. I had a conversation with a woman yesterday, I'm working from 9 to 9 and I still haven't cracked that 6-figure goal. And, it's a matter of understanding how leveraged can you be, right? So if you're trading time for dollars, there's always going to be a cap. You can raise your prices, you can raise them a certain amount. There's a certain level of price elasticity in any business. And you can figure that out scientifically, or you can figure that out by just every time you have a conversation, raising your prices 20% or 10%, 15% until you find where your ceiling is, and that happy place where you feel valued, where you feel well compensated for delivering the transformation or the experience that you're delivering. And you also can make money. And so you start with the end in mind, right? So if you have a revenue goal, if there's a specific number that you're thinking of hitting this year, then we look at what is the average value of a client to you. and we divide that into your revenue number and how many clients do you need to get in a single year in order to hit that number. It's really logical. And then you back into what does it take for me to get that many clients? And then you can plan out your calendar along those activities. If you realize that you can't possibly hit that number given your existing business model, then it's an opportunity to look at, wow, well, how can I scale? How can I leverage my time? How can I clone myself? How can I create another revenue stream or another product stream with something that's lower cost or higher end? And so that you actually have tiers of service offerings so that there are many ways that clients get access to you. Then you have greater flexibility to make more money doing what you love.
Yeah, so you're bringing up a lot of things that right brain people like myself. It's not that I'm not left brain, I'm a writer, I can do both. But the minute you got into mathematics, I was like, oh, my brain just turned off. So I guess what I'm saying is that this is why people who are focused on creating art, entrepreneurs who are focused on creating the product, need to work with someone like yourself. We need to have that kind of thought on our side, and we need to be led by the hand to do that kind of thing so that we're not just creating art, putting it out there, and then upset because it's not selling. We're not putting out coaching services just.
Oh, I just lost audio on this side. I lost hearing you.
Oh,
what was that question again? Yeah.
Well, we're just not producing art or products that are not going to sell. Instead, we would work with you to help us do all the things that you talked about, including things like leveraging, which is not something we normally think about, and about how to, I know one of the things that you specialize in is how not to waste a lot of time marketing something that really is never going to sell, how to test the waters, all of those things that are the business side. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
How you'd help us?
Yeah, even artists have ideal customers, right? Ideal clients, people that are more well suited for their type of art. Writers have ideal readers, right? So you have these personas of people who you're speaking to. And so through our research, we get into the hearts and minds of who those people are so that we can find more of them and then look for opportunities to serve them in different ways. And so we have conversations, and the trick is we don't know what we don't know, right? So where is the opportunity for you to be seen and heard by more of your ideal clients, and where can you give them more opportunities to consume what you have to offer? So math aside, it's all about being seen and heard, right? So it's all about getting your art seen. It's all about getting your words heard or read, and connecting with your ideal clients on more opportunities to engage with you. So if you're creating a marketing plan and you don't understand, and you're building out funnels and downloads and Facebook Lives and Facebook groups, and you haven't yet cracked the code on how do I get into the hearts and minds of my ideal clients, what are the messages that they uniquely need to hear from me, then you're wasting valuable time, money, and energy on a strategy that's just going to leave you feeling like you failed or you don't know what you're doing. And that's the perpetual struggle of the entrepreneur.
Yeah, and why many artists have a struggling artist mindset. I don't know which comes first, the egg or the chicken, but
yeah.
Somehow. Yeah, and I want to say hi to Brandy. Hi, Brandy. And my very good friend, Nancy Tierney, who's one of the most wonderful copywriters I've ever met. Be sure to ask questions or let me know if there's anything you want to add to the conversation, because this is a dialogue. And yeah, so what I'm hearing you say, Deb, is well, I'm going to put it in story terms because that's how I think. When I saw you work with Diane, she was an incredible artist. She was putting together beautiful artwork, but she had marketed herself when she lived in Italy. However, when she moved here, she was having trouble identifying her market. I know you helped her with that. It wasn't necessarily what she expected. You began to look at gallery owners. You began to look at owners of venues, things that she hadn't considered while she was over here. And so you actually streamlined what she's doing. And she hardly has time to talk these days. She's so busy.
Yeah, her gallery, she went back to basics. So any disruption in your life, and Diane, you're a friend and we're in the same mastermind group, so we get to share strategies together. Anytime you have a disruption in your business, where you've moved, right? So, and you're changing markets or you're changing direction, it requires that you look back and say, what's worked for me in the past? What do I know about myself? And then, so this is where I mean multiple revenue streams. So in Diane's case, our good friend who's here, in Diane's case, it was a matter of going back to where she'd had success in Italy, right? So I'm going to go back to galleries. So now she's got multiple gallery shows queued up and she's selling her art. And that gives her the freedom and the flexibility to, well, let me use some of my spare time now, since I'm not hustling my business all the time. Let me use some of my spare time to explore other potential opportunities that might be outside the box. And the same is true for you. We want to understand what's your bread and butter, what really works for you. Let's make sure that that engine is running. And then let's explore some out of the box opportunities that might break into a new market or give you more leverage. And I do a lot of drawing. So I have a creative part of my brain as well. And when I want to solve a problem, I actually start drawing it out. What's my end game? Where am I getting to? And so it doesn't have to be mathematical. You can actually draw pictures and start with the end game. And then, well, what needs to happen before that? And what needs to happen before that? And what are the channels to get me that information? And start drawing a picture of your business model.
So what you do is a lot. I mean, it's just to bring a metaphor in. When I'm helping someone write a book, we might do some writing, but basically before you start writing, we're going to make some plans about where that book is going to go, because you can work on a book forever and figure it out. But when you start to make plans and follow that architectural, I don't want to call it an outline because people plan different ways, but just some kind of plan as to your theme and what you want to do, you can at least get started. And I think that's what you're helping people do by helping them launch online, is get their businesses online in a way that won't have them chasing their tail for years and years and years, but instead will help them bring in money quicker because they have a business plan that you've helped them work out.
Yeah. And so whether it's online or offline, right? So if as the saying goes, it's paraphrased Lewis Carroll, with writers, I have to be really careful here. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there, right?
Oh,
so,
I like that.
Yeah. So having an endpoint, having a destination, even though your destination may shift based on what you learn in the process of creating it. So then having a roadmap or a design map or a path to get there, and whether you draw it out or you put it in a spreadsheet doesn't really matter. What matters is there's a path to the cash, and there's a path that you're following. And we're checking in and we're learning along the way. And the other layer that goes on top of, what you're doing to build your business or build out a new line of business is that you're managing that internal talk track, that mindset, and you're noticing resistance, and that you have the skills and tools to work through it. And you're noticing your self-sabotage patterns. So one of the exercises that I have my clients do at the very beginning is, where do you want to be in 6 months or 3 months? And then ask yourself, how am I most likely to sabotage myself from getting there?
I do want to make a comment on the road, because never let a metaphor go by without we can walk the road or we can take a plane. So I think working with you is at least a train, if not a plane. So let me just say that. I know that you've helped me speed up the process. I want to go back into your history a little bit. I know when I finally met you in Austin, what drew me in was your background, how you'd come up through the agency business, how you'd done a lot of new product work with new products. Can you just talk a little bit about your background story?
Sure. And this is great because Kelly, we've met each other virtually along the way in several courses and programs. And what I
Mm-hmm.
noticed and what broke my heart was that there were many, mostly women entrepreneurs in these courses and programs who weren't ready to be at that stage. And then they became frustrated that the business wasn't growing, that they weren't launching it the way they thought they would. And it's because they didn't have those basics in place. And then when my son went to college, so I was doing my life coaching business and I was trading time for dollars. And then when my son was leaving for college, and I was just reflecting in my morning pages, what's next for me? And then it hit me that I had 25 years of product development, product management, product marketing in the services sector. So I was always solving problems for people who wanted to make better decisions around technology or make better marketing decisions. And I became known in the industry as someone who could really crack the code on what the problem solution fit was.
Mm.
And so I just decided, I was like, wow, that same process and those same skills will work for entrepreneurs. So why don't I just run them through that same process that I did so well for 25 years? And that led me to continually iterate on my own service offerings. And then the Launch Lab for Women Entrepreneurs was born. And I'm super excited. We open our doors this afternoon to our first cohort who's coming on board to sift through all of these questions. What's my mission and purpose? And who is my ideal client? And what problem do I uniquely solve? And how do I deliver that? And what are the key messages that I need to use? What's my money-making model? And having that confidence, and that you not only can you do it, you know that you have a solid foundation on which to build your business.
Now, is this only for beginners or is this for medium sized?
Mhm.
I mean, like they've got a lot of experience online, or lately my efforts have been turned online. Um, do you work with them to just see things in a new way and replan, maybe talk to that a bit?
Sure. So there's 3 different clients that I work with. Those who are just leaving the corporate world and hanging out their shingle for the first time. Right before this Facebook Live, I got off the phone with a colleague who I had met online who's making just that transition from an HR executive to a leadership coach. We were talking about that journey. So it could be you're just launching it for the first time and you want to do it right. The second is those who've been at it for a few years and they've been circling around. And one of my new clients has invested more than $50,000 in her education to launch her business, and she still hasn't cracked the number that she wants to hit, and it's not a big number. So we are working on relaunching her business. So we kind of go back to the drawing board and start from scratch. What do you already know? What have you learned? We leverage what you've already learned on your journey, but what is it that you don't know that would make all the difference? And so then we start the process of identifying, well, there are thousands of speakers, authors, coaches, trainers, artists out there. And if you're not culling through the noise with a differentiated message, that becomes a struggle. So that's audience number 2. Audience number 3 is the successful entrepreneur who already has a thriving coaching or consulting business who wants more leverage in order to scale our business. So those are the 3 types of people that I find great joy in working with.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if Brandy or Nancy or Joan or anyone else that's on this call has any questions for Deb. She's starting this lab, but I'm sure there's still time to be a part of it or to work with you in the future. I know you've really helped me a lot.
Oh, it's been a great journey together,
Yeah.
Kelly. And yeah, Brandy's got some serious business chops of her own there. It's great to have her in the World Changing Women Mastermind. Nancy, I hear you're a great copywriter. That's awesome. That's a skill that everyone needs. We should connect so I know how to refer to you too. And yeah, any launch questions, you can reach me. There's a free open Facebook group called the Launch Lab for Women Entrepreneurs. You can join us there, hop into the conversation. I hope to share this. I don't know if I can share this there too, Kelly. I'd love to.
Yes.
Mhm.
So how do I, let's see, you want to put up, let me just share that. Okay, so what are we putting?
A launch lab for women entrepreneurs. It's a group.
Launch.
The launch lab. You're in there.
For women. Well, I'm putting it up on here. Women on
Oh, yes. It's a Facebook group. The launch
entrepreneurs.
lab.
I hate spelling.
I know. Entrepreneurs. It's such a hard word to spell.
Okay, so this should go up. Show. Come on, show. Go up.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. The launch
Yeah.
lab for women entrepreneurs. Yeah, so join us on Facebook and ask questions, jump into the conversation, post your insights from this, and we'd be happy to help you wherever you're in your journey.
Well, thank you, Deb. I really appreciate you joining me today for, normally I do this broadcast on Fridays, but we are making changes because you're starting your program today. And I see someone else just came in. Let's see. Oh, Diane. Hi, how are you? We talked about you. So you'll want to listen to the video later.
Yeah, she was there.
She said you are both amazing, world-changing women. I am so blessed to know you both. And ditto. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Deb. And I will, I'm going to get my head back up here. And I will see you in a short while at the mastermind.
Sounds great, Kelly. You are the bomb. All right. Bye, everyone. Talk soon.
Ciao. Bye.
Ciao.